Welcome back to LA Show. We are back. Thank you so much for tuning back in with me. Today we are going to talk about some current events, some serious events that are going on in our community that we should be aware of. And thank you guys so much for sticking around. Really do appreciate you guys. You know, it's always love over here, despite the small stuff. So my first story that I'm coming with you guys today is kind of long. It's very lengthy, but it's very important. And I think it's very necessary to get some awareness around that area. So if you are an activist or if you are in the community of St. Louis, then this is devastating. And I can only imagine how the community feels. So we're going to look at this article from KMOV4. 18 children fall victim to gun violence across St. Louis since May of this year. St. Louis, a wave of gun violence across the St. Louis and Metro East area has left 17 children, all under the age of 16, and a young mother dead since early May. Some of the victims were just leaving a party or standing on a sidewalk when they were shot and killed. Many of the cases remain unsolved. Local residents and city leaders told News 4 that they are fed up with the rising violence. So do something. Shots fired into a home claims teen's life. On September 27th, Antoine Lamar Brown was killed while inside his Glasgow Village home. Police said the 15-year-old was inside of his home on Ross Circle when someone fired shots into the building around 5:30 a.m. At the time, police said that the incident did not appear to be a random act. 2 killed in one day. A 13-year-old boy was walking with 2 individuals Thursday when a series of gunshots rang out and the boy was struck. Clifford Swan III was walking near Oak Park Apartments in Spanish Lake around 6 p.m. on September 12th when he was shot. He later died from his injuries at a local hospital. Jabari Lowry was charged with the murder. Police said it was not random. Earlier that same day, a 3-year-old boy, Rodney March III, found an insecure gun in his North County home and accidentally shot himself. He was later pronounced dead. August shootings claimed 4 lives. A 15-year-old Centonio Cox was killed on August 25th. Just before 6 a.m., officers arrived to the 7300 block of Vermont and found Cox with a gunshot wound to the head. On a chilly Friday night, 8-year-old Journey Thompson was sitting in the stands at Soldan High School watching a football jamboree with her 2 cousins when suddenly a fight broke out. During the fight, shots rang out a block north of the high school. Police said Good Samaritans rushed to help the young girl clinging to life. The girl died moments later. A 7-year-old boy and an 18-year-old man were shot in Hyde Park neighborhood of North City on August 16th, police said. The shootings happened just after 5 p.m. in the 3500 block of North 14th Street. According to police, Xavier Usenga was a 12-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl when he was shot. The other 2 children with Usenga at the time of the shooting were not injured. I see the pain, I see the anguish. Days into the new school year, Jason Eberhardt was a high school junior aspiring to be an NFL player. But his dreams were cut short on August 18th. Eberhardt was shot multiple times while standing in a parking lot in the Carr Square neighborhood. Charles Shelton said he woke up to a phone call Sunday morning with the news that his cousin Eberhardt was killed. Jason was in the wrong place at the wrong time, Shelton said. It's one of those situations where I wish I could have made a difference. As police search for a suspect, Shelton is using his personal tragedy to fuel his mission to help others. A mother and a son slain. Early May, Elijah Johnson was heading to work when he got the hardest call of his life. He learned his 3-year-old son, Caden Johnson, and the mother of his child, Trinity Riley, were killed. Neighbors told News 4 someone entered Riley's home in the 5900 block of Ferris and opened fire on the young mother and the child. About 6 to 7 gunshots were heard before the suspect drove off. Just pain. A lot of pain. It was unbelievable. I could not believe it, Johnson said, describing the pain he felt after learning the devastating news. Mixed emotions, very heartbroken right now, actually. The case remains unsolved at the time. Another child, that just saddens me. Another child. In St. Louis, Kennedy, 3 years old, Kennedy Powell, was standing on a sidewalk with a group of kids, 4, 6, and 8 on Michigan Ave early June when someone inside a white Nissan drove by and began firing shots. I heard gunshots. It gets me out of my bed, and I see her lying on the ground, said Powell's grandmother, Tracy Wofford. Witnesses said Powell's father was performing CPR on her as he waited for the EMS to arrive. The 3-year-old later died at the hospital. A 6-year-old girl was outside with Powell and was struck in the back by a bullet, police say. On July 19th, 10-year-old Eddie Hill was hanging out with his father and other family members on the porch during a warm summer night. Family members said a dark-colored car crept down the 4700 block of Page and began shooting. Hill was hit in the chest and died shortly at the hospital. Another child, that saddens me, another child, said resident Leroy Carter. I don't know what to say. I don't have words. I'm speechless. You know, what are we going to do about this violence around here? No one else was injured during the drive-by shooting. Authorities were called to the 1500 block of North 20th Street after an 11-year-old girl was found with a fatal gunshot wound to the head. The girl, later identified as Charnesia Keys, reportedly lived nearby. Limited details about the shooting or potential suspects have been released, but Keys' death is considered suspicious, officials say. St. Louis Metropolitan Police Chief John Hayden said this is a low point for the city. No. This is an epidemic, and this is something that needs to be looked at. So the notion that somebody would shoot when children could be in harm's way is an all-time kind of civic responsibility low that we are experiencing right now, Hayden said. Rising athletes. The Metro East community is mourning the death of a rising 14-year-old football star in Belleville, Illinois in May. He's supposed to bury me. I'm not supposed to bury him, Otis Gunner said. I can't explain it. It's a call you never thought you would get, never thought it would happen to you. Gunner's son, Jalen McKenzie, was leaving a house party when he and a 15-year-old girl were struck by a stray gunfire. Gunner told News 4 McKenzie was leaving the party to avoid a fight at the party when he was shot and killed. Emergency crews transported McKenzie to a local hospital where his family and more than 75 of his friends waited for updates at the hospital. Gunner said his son died shortly at midnight. Although he was still in middle school, the 14-year-old athlete was receiving attention from colleges and Mizzou and Illinois for his impressive skills on the field. His parents said he was shy and reserved but came alive while playing sports. McKenzie was also recently featured in Sports Illustrated magazine as one of the 6 teens who will rule the future in sports. Across the river in South St. Louis, Robert R.J. Dorsey went outside for a walk at night on July 17th when he was shot in the stomach. His aunt Kara Hibden recalls the last moment of Dorsey's sister and grandma saw him alive. He hugged her and said, "I'll be back," and walked outside, and they shot him. As soon as he walked out, she said, he didn't even make it down the driveway. The teen was a basketball star at Bayless high school and was loved by his coaches, police still do not have any leads to whom may be responsible for killing the teen, but family members believe the shooter may be known by Dorsey. A triple shooting that stemmed from an ongoing feud in Madison, Illinois, left a 15-year-old dead. Police in Madison said 15-year-old Amari Coleman was among two other people, a 16-year-old and a 21-year-old, shot inside of a home on 4th Street on July 10th. He took away all the memories me and my brother had, said Shamila Andrews, a sister of Coleman. We really didn't grow up with each other, but he's my brother, the same blood. I just can't believe this happened. Coleman was shot once in the chest and later died. Police arrested Corian Mosley and Torian Mosley in connection with the deadly shooting. The Mosleys and the three victims had been in an ongoing feud days before the shooting, police said. I can't understand why 14-year-old Lynn Coleman was found dead. Ian Coleman was found dead inside a North County apartment. After officers responded to a welfare check on July 20th, officers said Coleman was inside the complex with a group of teenagers when a gun went off and struck the teen. A person of interest has been identified in the case. An investigation is still ongoing as authorities continue to search for a suspect who shot and killed 14-year-old Christina Curry in South St. Louis. Family members said Curry's body was found in the alley between Roosevelt High School and the school's football field. I hurt because I can't understand why someone would hurt my granddaughter that way, said Curry's grandmother, Atania Valentine. Homicide detectives are still investigating the deaths of Jashawn Johnson and Maisha Cannon, who were both killed early June in North City. Johnson, 16, was found with multiple fatal gunshot wounds in the area of Red Bud and Margarita. 2 days later, Cannon was found in the 4400 block of Lexington with a gunshot wound to the head. Cannon was pronounced dead at the scene. The search is still on for their killers. Wow. So apparently this is something that is very much so prevalent, and we need to pay attention to it. I also have a couple more names that I do not believe that they included into this article, but I have been looking at this over the time, and it looks like there's more. So I'm going to touch on these kids. Some of these kids are from Illinois. It looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And then the rest are from St. Louis area. March 11th, Malik Moore, age 17. April 21st, Curtis Marshall, age 15. April 30th, Caden Johnson, age 2. May 4th, Jalen McKenzie, age 14, out of Illinois. May 23rd, Christina Curry, age 16. June 8th, Jashawn Johnson, age 16. June 9th, Kennedy Powell, age 16. June 12th, Maisha Cannon, age 16. June 24th, Michael Henderson, age 15, out of Illinois. June 26th, Darrell Williams, age 15, out of Illinois. July 8th, Amari Coleman, 15, out of Illinois. July 10th, Robert Dorsey. I didn't get an age. July 15th, Devon Winters, age 17. July 19th, Eddie Hill, age 10. July 20th, Ian Coleman, age 14. August 12th, Xavier Usanga, age 7. August 18th, Jason Eberhardt, age 16. August 23rd, Journey Thompson, age 8. August 24th, Nyla Banks, age 10. And then August 25th, Centonio Cox, age 15. And, you know, we will lift their names up. Your lives are not forgotten. But I want to know what you guys think down below. If you live in the area, could you let me know of some of the things that they're working on? What is going on? What kind of initiatives are they running for this community? Because clearly there is a problem. So, you know, comment down below your thoughts. Let me know what you think. So the next story we're going to get into is of the beautiful girl. She's beautiful. Girl admits to lying about sixth grade classmates cutting off her dreadlocks. And we will refer to them as locks over here at LA Show. I was actually reprehended on Instagram about referring to them as dreads. I apologize. I'm not within that sector of the culture, so I do apologize, but they are locks. So a 12-year-old black girl from Virginia has recanted her accusation, I'm sorry, you guys, accusation that her white sixth grade classmates pinned her down and cut off her dreadlocks. Her family said in a statement Monday. Stephen Danish, the head of Emmanuel Christian School, also confirmed the allegations were false. Following an investigation by the Fairfax County Police Department, Danish said Amari Allen, the student who accused 3 of her classmates of assault, acknowledged the accusations were not true. While we are relieved to hear the truth and bring the events of the past few days to a close, we feel tremendous pain for the victims and the hurt on both sides of the conflict, he said. We recognize that we now enter what will be a long season of healing. Allen's family apologized to the boys in the school for the pain and anxiety these allegations caused. To the administrators and families of Emmanuel Christian School, we are sorry for the damage this incident has done to the trust within the school family and the undue scorn it has brought to the school. The family said, we understand there will be consequences and we're prepared to take responsibility for them. They added to the broader community who rallied in such passionate support for the daughter. We apologize for betraying your trust. Last week, Allen said CBS affiliate WUSA-TV that the boys called her dreadlocks ugly and nappy before cutting them off on the playground during recess. They kept laughing and calling her names. Allen told the station, tearing up, they called me ugly and said I shouldn't have been born. They called me an attention seeker. Her family pays nearly $12,000 a year for her to attend this private school. So I see a lot of people jumping down this girl's throat. I understand that if it was factual that she actually did lie and the police have footage of her cutting off her own hair or have footage of those boys not around her, that's one thing. But as far as me believing that, this child is in a predominantly Caucasian area and her family is paying this much money out to this school, and for her to feel the type of way that she felt in that moment to cut her own hair or whatever happened is really, really upsetting. And that's what we need to get down to the bottom of. Why does she feel this way about herself, if nobody else put this into her? That's something we do need to recognize immediately. I do feel bad for Amari Allen because she is so young, and I don't think she understood what the ramifications of this type of lie, what it would do. And, I was ready to, really put in some efforts to try to help her, because it does seem like a lot of things that I'm showing on my Instagram page of young Caucasian kids are picking on these black children. So we do need to take a look into these situations. If your child is being bullied, do not ignore them. We don't know what kind of extent that these things will go to. And like some people were saying in the comments on Instagram, I can see, this happening to another child and people not believing them. So we just have to be aware, stay on our toes, stay on our children, be observant. And, we really need to figure out why Amari felt the need to come up with this lie, if it was a lie. And I would just like to see it for myself. So you guys comment down below what you guys think about this situation. So it looks like we're about to have us a good old barbecue. Amber Guyger convicted of murder for killing Botham John. Watch the sentencing phase. So right now we are in high hopes that this girl gets some time behind bars to really think about what she did to Botham Shem John that day. I'll never forget waking up and watching the news and seeing that story. And I hope she'll never forget that day either.